Hi and a very good day to my lecturer, Mr. McKelvin, and my fellow friends. So today we will be presenting about our assignment 2, which is International Business Law subject. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Dayang Nurmiza binti Abang Halik and I am taking Bachelor in International Business.
My name is Nur Safawati binti Azman and I'm taking Bachelor International Business.
And hello, my name is Muhammad Reza bin Azmi. Alright, as to briefly introduce the case between Maria and Laphab, we are also going to scrutinize the details about the CIST, Hagi rules, bill of lading, what is their function, what makes bill of lading important in this case, because without bill of lading, we cannot prove the transaction. I mean the international transaction of the chartering vessel between the carrier and also the owner, especially in this case Maria and also Laphab. So in this dispute, there will be of battles of law. I would say the dispute of law between the owner and also the carrier, especially when we are talking about the chartering the vessel, the roles of carrier, like is it seaworthiness or not? That will be the elements that are going to be touched later on. And the key elements will be the CIST, Hagi rules, bill of lading. We will see and how they can win over the case through the legal arguments and also defenses that are available in the rules.
For the question A, what is the CISG and what are the basic requirements for its application? What remedies are available to Laphab GmbH, the buyer, under the CISG if the goods are damaged during the transit? What remedies are available to Maria SDN BHD, the sellers, if Laphab GmbH fails to pay? So CISG is a Convention on Contracts for the International Sales of Goods, 1980. So for the overview, a multilateral treaty for uniform legal rules in international sales of goods. Second one is goals facilitate international trade by removing legal barriers and promoting predictability. For the application requirement, the first one is contract is for the sales of goods. Second, parties have places of business in different contracting states. Third, parties have not exclude CISG for the Article 6. For the last one is sales is not exclude under Article 2. Example like consumer goods and auctions. For the example scenarios is Laphab GmbH Germany sells to Maria SDN BHD Malaysia. Both Germany and Malaysia are CISG member states. The last one is CISG applies unless expressly excluded. So for the remedies for Maria SDN BHD, the sellers, if the Laphab GmbH fails to pay under the Article 61 and of the CISG, if the buyer fails to pay or perform their obligations, they're required to pay of the price as in Article 62. They also claim damage for the losses caused by the breach as in Article 74. Avoid the contract if the failure is a fundamental breach in Article 64. They also suspend the performance if it becomes clear that the buyer will not fulfill their obligation as in Article 71 and they claim interest on late payments in Article 78. So for the IREC method, remedies for Laphab GmbH good damage during the transit. The first one, issue what remedies are available under CISG if goods are damaged during the transit. Second one, relevant law, Article 67 until 69, risk passes by based on delivery term, usually at handover to the first carrier. Article 46(2), buyer may request substitute goods. Article 46, buyer may request repair. Article 74, buyer may claim damage. Article 50 is buyer may reduce the price. Article 46, buyer may avoid the contract if breach is fundamental. So for the application, if damage occurred before goods were handed to the carrier, seller bear risk remedies available if damage occurred after risk passed to buyer, limited remedies unless due to seller breach. So for the conclusion, if risk had not passed, LabHealth GmbH may claim damage, replacement, repair, price reduction, or contract avoidance. If risk had passed, remedies only if seller breached the contract. Next, for the IREC remedies for Maria SDN BHD buyer fails to pay. For the first one issue, what remedies does the seller have under CISG if the buyer fails to pay the purchase price? So the second one, relevant law, Article 62, seller may require payment. Second one, Article 74, seller may claim damage. Third, Article 64, seller may avoid the contract for fundamental breach. Fourth, Article 51, seller may suspend performance if buyer clearly won't perform. So the third one, application, if LabHealth GmbH to pay on time, Maria SDN BHD can demand the payment, claim damage for losses due to delay, avoid contract if breach is fundamental. So for the last one is conclusion. Conclusion is required payment, claim damage and interest, avoid the contract is if the breach is serious. So for the question B is explain the function of bill of lading in this scenario. How does it help LabHealth GmbH and Maria SDN BHD in the transaction by using IREC method? So for the issues, what is the function of bill of lading and how it assists both buyer and seller in their international sale transaction? So for the second one is for relevant law, Article 15 CISG, receipt of good, confirm carriers receive good from sellers. Second, contract of carriage, bill of lading, evidence transport terms, delivery, risk and responsibility. For the third one is document of title, holder has right to claim goods, enable transfer of ownership. So for the third one is application, LabHealth GmbH buyer confirm shipment details and condition of goods, enable tracking and claim goods on arrival. So for the Maria SDN BHD, the sellers proof of shipment and compliance retains control until payment is received via holding the bill of lading. So for the last one is conclusion. Conclusion is the bill of lading protects both parties, such as receive contract evidence and title document. And the last one is ensures secure and verifiable trade execution. Thank you.
So now I will explain about the ship owner's duty on a charter party and how a limitation clause may impact Maria Sendirian Berhad's ability to claim damages of goods. The first one is the ship owner has a duty on providing a seaworthy vessel where they have to make sure that the ship is in a good condition so it will be safe for the journey and they will be ready to carry the goods. Moreover, the ship must also have a qualified crews and also they have to meet all of the safety requirements. So what will be happen if the ship is not seaworthy? So if the ship is not seaworthy and it gets damaged because of this case, so the ship owner may be held responsibility for the loss or damage of goods. Now, let's move to the next one, which is time charter party. So in a charter party, Maria Sendirian Berhad rents the ship for a fixed period of time, but the ship owner is still keeping control over the ship. Why is it so? It is to make sure the ship is in a good condition and ready to use, so it won't cause any delays while the shipping process. So now, let us take a look on another duty of ship owner, which is the ship owner have to provide a bill of lading so it can show that the good was received in a good condition and ready to ship. So what will be happen if the goods were damaged during the trip? So this document can help to prove it and could claim compensation. Lastly, the ship owner have to know about the liability limits, where rules like Hag vs. B set a limit on how much the ship owner have to pay for the damage or loss of goods. So even the damage costs more, Maria Sendirian Berhad only can claim up to the limit and not the full amount. So in this part, I will be explaining about the difference between the UK and Malaysian sales of goods acts, focusing on the seller and buyer obligations. So the first one is the difference of risk of loss. So in the UK, the law puts less focus on threat terms like Incoterms. But in Malaysia, Incoterms are very important to decide when the risk moves from seller to buyer. The next one is the difference of delivery terms. So in the UK, the rule doesn't really clear. So it mostly depends on what the contract says. But in Malaysia, it's different. The law gives more guidance about delivery rules. For the last one is the difference of remedies. So in the UK, if there is something wrong with the goods, the buyers can ask for repair or replacement by default. But in Malaysia, it's totally different because the buyers will not get it right automatically because it must has been written in the contract. So, if a sale follows the UK or Malaysian rules instead of the CISG, these differences would affect how risk, delivery, and remedies are handled.
I will be explaining on question E. What kind of responsibilities does the ship owner have under Hagi rules for the safe transport of goods, and how could these rules affect Maria claims for the damaged steel? Alright, when we are talking about the carrier's legal responsibilities, when we look back on what kind of the dispute between Maria and also Letha, the damage has been done, especially for the steels and the goods also, especially during the transporting. Alright, when we are talking about the damage, what kind of responsibility the carriers should have, I mean, in legal side, basically they have to ensure the vessel are seaworthy. The vessel is seaworthy before they're going to depart. Like the seaworthiness, they have to make sure on that. Okay, so how they can ensure this seaworthiness in the vessel itself? They have to make sure it's been properly made, been fully equipped, and also to make the sea vessel itself fully equipped and it is supplied readily available for the ship. And next, as we look into the seaworthiness again, they must be like have proper storage, the care for the goods, and also the safety of the vessel itself. Like these kind of elements are important, especially to make that vessel is seaworthiness to transport for the goods. So are that's are the legal responsibilities of the carrier on how they can make this vessel to become seaworthy. Rules impact on Maria's claim. Let's say they want to claim on the damage that has been done. Alright, so if let's say the damage has been done and everything, alright, the carrier is liable if the duties are breached. So what kind of like defenses that they have actually to defend themselves so they can win over the case? Alright, so the defenses available like the peril of the sea. So this one is more to like the I would say the sea nature itself. I mean the sea occurrence, like does the storm happen and everything, and also for the example the act of God. This is more to like there's nothing can be done if there's a natural occurrence that cannot be avoided. So that's what is meant by the law. And also the compensation may be capped. Alright, what does it mean is they may claim like until at one point But then the compensation will be void if there are gross negligence. So what does it mean by gross negligence? Is like they do not perform due due by diligence of the seaworthiness of the vessel itself. If they they properly maintain everything on uh, the seaworthiness of the vessel itself, they might be like able to set themselves and might be like winning the case. Like they may win the compensation. What kind of like Maria uh, Stadium Berhad has to do like to win over the case? I mean, like to win over the court, especially like the damage has been done. So basically, first of all, they have to gather the evidence. Like without evidence, bill of lading, especially because of without the bill of lading, the proof of document that they have been transported, the goods that they should be delivering, mm, like will will make the case like they will have low chance to win the case. Bill of lading, they need to gather the evidence and also the Hagi rules. Yeah, the Hagi rules will protect both carrier and the cargo owner, but the burden of proof need to be uh, need to be relevant and also like uh, they need to have the valid proof that the damage has been done is not intentional, it is unintentional. I think that will be all from question E. So what we can conclude from this case actually, alright, let me try to summarize again. We will look into back into the case between Maria and also that have the damage has been done and everything. The mayor wants to win their side and also let have want to win their side. But then uh, in the dispute itself, uh, Maria, let's say if Maria uh, win the case. So what makes them win the case? Because uh, they conduct like SOP for to make the vessel is seaworthiness. But then let's say they do not conduct the checking and everything, they will not win the case, especially for the Maria. And also let have they might also win the case because there is a proof of bill of lading. Without bill of lading, once again, they cannot claim like anything. It could be, let's say they do not have bill of lading, they do not possess it. It could be illegal for them to transport. So winning the case, like or claim or compensation itself, like might be low. The chance might be low because of without the existence of bill of lading, there's not in that in this case they will not protect both sides, but then will bring disaster to both of the parties. I think that will be all about the dispute between Maria and also Laptop. Thank you.
So we are almost at the end of the presentation. Before we end, we would like to thank you for your time and your attention.